Hey everyone, today we're going to check out the best games with incredible and sensational stories. The Witcher 3: Wild Hunt is an open-world RPG that offers an immersive experience in a vast fantasy universe. Its gameplay combines exploration, combat, and the use of magic, allowing players to face a variety of monsters and engage in compelling quests. The combat system is fluid, requiring both strategy and quick reflexes, especially against tougher enemies. The graphics are impressive, with detailed landscapes, well-modeled characters, and dynamic weather effects that make the world of The Witcher come to life. The narrative is deep and complex, filled with moral choices that directly impact the story's progression and the fate of the characters. The difficulty is adjustable, providing challenges for both casual players and those seeking a more arduous experience. Red Dead Redemption 2 is one of the most critically acclaimed games, offering an incredibly immersive experience in the Wild West. The gameplay focuses on an open world where players can participate in a wide range of activities, from shootouts and robberies to simple horseback rides through breathtaking scenery. The graphics are top-notch, with meticulous attention to detail, from the characters' facial expressions to the way sunlight reflects off the landscapes. The narrative is dense and emotionally charged, exploring themes of loyalty, morality, and survival in a changing world. The difficulty is well balanced, but the complexity of the game's systems, such as the need to care for your horse or manage fatigue and hunger, can present a steep learning curve for new players. Every mission and random encounter contributes to a world that feels alive and ever-evolving. The Last of Us is a landmark in the action survival genre, combining an emotionally gripping narrative with intense and challenging gameplay. Set in a post-apocalyptic world ravaged by a pandemic that turns humans into ferocious creatures, players control Joel, a hardened survivor who must protect Ellie, a young girl with a secret that could save humanity. The gameplay mixes exploration, combat, and puzzle solving, with an emphasis on stealth and the strategic use of scarce resources. The graphics are impressive, with detailed environments that capture the world's decay while revealing a somber beauty. The difficulty is challenging, especially on higher levels, where every bullet counts and players are constantly pressured to make quick decisions. The Last of Us 2 continues the story of Joel and Ellie, taking the narrative to new heights of complexity and emotion. The gameplay is an evolution of the original, maintaining the mix of intense combat, stealth, and exploration, but with refined mechanics that include smarter enemy AI and more varied melee combat options. The graphics are stunning, taking full advantage of the hardware to create an incredibly detailed and realistic post-apocalyptic world. The difficulty is adjustable but always challenging, requiring players to use both skill and strategic planning to survive encounters with enemies and dangerous creatures. The story is dark and brutal, exploring themes of revenge, guilt, and the cycle of violence, with complex and morally ambiguous characters. Metal Gear Solid 3: Snake Eater is a classic that combines stealth action with an engaging narrative set during the Cold War. The gameplay focuses on infiltration, where the player must avoid detection by enemies while completing objectives in a dense and dangerous jungle. The graphics, though dated, still impress with artistic direction and detailed design of environments and characters. Survival mechanics are a significant part of the game, where players need to hunt animals for food and treat wounds to keep Snake in fighting condition. The difficulty is high, especially on harder levels, where enemy AI is sharper and resources are scarce. The story is rich in political intrigue and memorable characters, with twists that keep the player invested from start to finish. God of War 2018 reimagines the iconic series with a new perspective and a more emotional and mature narrative. The gameplay is a mix of visceral and strategic combat, with Kratos using his Leviathan axe to deliver powerful blows while also utilizing magical abilities and the help of his son, Atreus, to face mythical enemies. The graphics are of the highest quality, with breathtaking settings that capture the beauty and brutality of the Norse world. The difficulty is adjustable, but even at lower levels, the game offers challenges that require attention and skill, especially in boss battles and encounters with mythical creatures. Nier Automata is a game that combines frenetic action with a philosophical and deep narrative, offering a unique experience that transcends traditional video game boundaries. The gameplay is varied and dynamic, alternating between hack-and-slash combat, aerial shooting, and exploration of a post-apocalyptic world. The controls are fluid, allowing players to perform quick combos and acrobatics while facing hordes of robotic enemies. The graphics, while stylized, are detailed and create a melancholic atmosphere that complements the game's dark story. The difficulty is adjustable, but even at lower levels, the game demands quick reflexes and good skill management to overcome challenges. Uncharted 4: A Thief's End offers a cinematic and engaging experience, combining explosive action with a rich narrative and charismatic characters. The gameplay is an evolution of the previous games in the series, featuring intense shootouts, exploration in vast environments, and puzzles that challenge the player's mind. The graphics are stunning, with settings ranging from lush jungles to ancient ruins, all rendered with an impressive level of detail. The difficulty is balanced, providing challenges that keep the tension high without becoming overly frustrating, with a learning curve that adapts well to both newcomers and series veterans. The story follows Nathan Drake in his last adventure, exploring themes of family, loyalty, and the moral dilemmas of a life of treasure hunting. Spec Ops: The Line is a third-person shooter that stands out for its dark and provocative narrative, challenging genre conventions and making the player question the morality of their actions. The gameplay initially seems to follow the pattern of military shooters, with intense and tactical combat in a Dubai devastated by sandstorms. However, as the story progresses, the game reveals layers of complexity, exposing the psychological consequences of war. The graphics are competent, with environments that convincingly and atmospherically depict a city in ruins. Exploring a decaying district of a fictional city, where the player, as an amnesiac detective, must solve a mysterious murder. The game offers incredible freedom to shape the character through decisions that affect not only the story but also the protagonist's personality and abilities. The graphics are stylized, with an aesthetic that blends oil painting with comic books, creating an immersive and unique environment. The difficulty lies in the choices the player makes, which can lead to unexpected consequences and complex narrative paths. The narrative is deep and rich, exploring themes such as politics, identity, addiction, and the nature of human existence. The interactions with characters are multifaceted, with brilliantly written dialogue that alternates between biting humor and heavy drama. The Walking Dead: Season 1 is a game that redefines the narrative adventure genre, putting the player's emotional choices at the heart of the experience. The gameplay is relatively simple, combining point-and-click elements with puzzle-solving and branching dialogues that influence the course of the story. The graphics adopt a cel-shaded style that captures the grim and desperate atmosphere of a world overrun by zombies. The difficulty is not in traditional gameplay challenges but in the moral decisions the player must make throughout the story. The game follows the story of Lee Everett, a man with a dark past who finds a young girl named Clementine, and together they try to survive amid the chaos. The narrative is deeply engaging, with well-developed characters and dialogues that resonate with emotional authenticity. Horizon Zero Dawn stands out for its stunning open world and unique narrative that blends elements of science fiction and fantasy. The gameplay combines exploration, combat, and puzzle solving, with players taking control of Aloy, a hunter in a world dominated by robotic creatures. Combat is strategic, requiring players to use a variety of weapons and traps to take down enemies that vary in size and strength. The graphics are impressive, with environments ranging from dense forests to arid deserts, all richly detailed and with lighting effects that make the world vibrant and realistic. The difficulty can be adjusted, but the game offers a constant challenge, especially in battles against larger creatures, where preparation and knowledge of enemy weaknesses are crucial. Detroit: Become Human is an interactive narrative experience that explores the future of artificial intelligence and the ethical and social implications of its integration into human society. The gameplay centers on choices and consequences, with the player controlling 3 main characters, each with their own story and perspective on the android's struggle for freedom and identity. The graphics are incredibly detailed, capturing facial expressions and emotions realistically, which intensifies the connection with the characters and the narrative. The difficulty lies not in traditional challenges but in the complexity of the decisions the player must make, many of which have significant ramifications for the story. The narrative is rich in philosophical themes, addressing issues such as what it means to be human, the morality of creating sentient beings, and civil rights struggles. The Elder Scrolls V: Skyrim is an open-world RPG that has become a landmark in the genre, offering players unprecedented freedom to explore a vast and detailed fantasy universe. The gameplay is highly customizable, allowing players to create and develop their character in any way they choose, whether as a warrior, mage, thief, or any combination of these classes. The graphics, especially when the game was released, are impressive, with vast landscapes that include snow-covered mountains, dense forests, and ancient cities, each with its own style and atmosphere. BioShock Infinite is a first-person shooter that stands out for its complex narrative and unique setting. The gameplay combines intense shootouts with the use of special powers called Vigors, which give the player a variety of supernatural abilities to defeat enemies. The graphics are stunning, with the floating city of Columbia being one of the most visually memorable settings in video games, full of vibrant colors and a steampunk aesthetic that contributes to the game's unique atmosphere. The difficulty can be challenging, especially on higher levels, where resource management and the intelligent use of powers become crucial for surviving combat. The narrative is rich in themes of politics, religion, and identity, exploring complex issues such as racism, fanaticism, and the nature of free will. Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice is a unique experience that combines action and psychological horror, exploring deep themes of trauma and mental illness. The gameplay is a mix of melee combat and puzzle solving, with an intense focus on atmosphere and narrative. The graphics are incredibly detailed and realistic, with environments that reflect the disturbed mental state of the protagonist, Senua, as she embarks on a journey to rescue the soul of her beloved in the underworld. The difficulty of the combat is challenging, requiring quick reflexes and precise strategies, but the real challenge of the game lies in its dense and emotionally charged narrative. The game stands out for its innovative use of binaural sound, creating an immersive auditory experience that simulates the voices Senua hears in her mind, increasing tension and the sense of isolation. Call of Duty: World War II marks the return of the franchise to its roots, offering a first-person shooter experience set during World War II. The gameplay is fast-paced and intense, focusing on realistic battlefield combat where players participate in some of the war's most iconic operations. The graphics are high quality, with detailed environments that accurately recreate war-torn landscapes, from the beaches of Normandy to the ruined cities of Europe. The difficulty is adjustable, offering modes ranging from casual to extremely challenging, especially in the more intense campaigns where survival depends on quick reflexes and well-planned strategies. The narrative follows the story of an American squad, exploring their bonds of camaraderie, sacrifice, and the brutal impact of war. Baldur's Gate 3 brings back the classic RPG style, offering a deep and immersive experience based on the Dungeons & Dragons universe. The gameplay centers on tactical turn-based combat, where the player must use strategy and the unique abilities of each character to overcome enemies and challenges. The graphics are impressive, with detailed settings ranging from dark dungeons to vast open fields, all richly decorated to create a sense of total immersion. The difficulty is high, especially in battles where strategy and knowledge of D&D rules are crucial for success. The narrative is complex and branching, offering the player countless dialogue options and paths that can affect the fate of the characters and the world around them. Death Stranding is a game that defies conventions, offering a unique experience that combines elements of exploration, survival, and dense narrative in a post-apocalyptic world. The gameplay focuses on delivering packages across a hostile and desolate terrain, where players, in the role of Sam Porter Bridges, must connect isolated communities while dealing with supernatural dangers and human enemies. The graphics are impressive, capturing the beauty and desolation of a devastated world, with landscapes ranging from snowy mountains to deserted grass fields, all rendered with an impressive level of detail. Alan Wake is a game that blends action and psychological horror, delivering an engaging narrative that keeps the player hooked from start to finish. The gameplay revolves around Alan Wake, a best-selling writer who finds himself trapped in a small town where his own stories start coming to life, turning into nightmares. Combat is unique, requiring the player to use light as a weapon against shadowy enemies, adding an extra layer of strategy to the game. The graphics are atmospheric and significantly contribute to the game's tension, with dark, foggy environments creating a constant sense of impending danger. The difficulty is moderate, with spikes in challenge that require quick thinking and effective resource management. Alan Wake 2 continues the writer's saga, diving even deeper into psychological horror with a narrative that is even more complex and engaging. The gameplay retains the combat and strategic use of light from the original game, but with significant improvements that make the experience even more intense and rewarding. The graphics are enhanced, offering even more detailed visuals and a denser atmosphere, with lighting effects that accentuate the dark and mysterious tone of the story. The difficulty is higher compared to the first game, with more challenging enemies and puzzles that require greater attention to detail. The narrative is rich in twists and mysteries, with Alan Wake facing new threats while trying to uncover the truth behind the supernatural events surrounding him. The Wolf Among Us is a narrative-driven game developed by Telltale Games, set in a noir world where fairy tale characters live in hiding in New York City. The gameplay centers on interactive dialogues and decisions that affect the unfolding of the story, with the player taking on the role of Bigby Wolf, the sheriff of Fabletown, as he investigates a series of brutal murders. The graphics are stylized in a cel-shaded format that perfectly fits the game's dark and mysterious tone. The difficulty is low, focusing more on narrative and choices than traditional gameplay challenges like combat or puzzle solving. The narrative is the game's highlight, with a story full of twists, mysteries, and complex characters that keep the player engaged from start to finish. Katana Zero is a 2D action platformer that combines fast and precise combat with an engaging and mysterious narrative. The gameplay revolves around using a katana to defeat enemies in frenetic battles, where every move must be calculated with precision. The game also allows the player to manipulate time, slowing down movements to dodge bullets and execute deadly attacks more effectively. The graphics are in a pixel art style but with a level of detail and fluidity that make every scene vibrant and full of life. The difficulty is high, with enemies that can kill the player with a single hit, requiring quick reflexes and a clear understanding of each opponent's attack patterns to progress. The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild is a landmark in the open-world genre, offering an exploration and adventure experience that redefines what freedom in a game means. The gameplay allows the player to explore the vast world of Hyrule however they choose, climbing mountains, crossing rivers, and facing enemies in any desired order. The graphics are stunning, with an art direction that blends realism with a cartoon aesthetic, creating a vibrant and lively world. The difficulty is balanced, with a learning curve that allows players of all skill levels to feel challenged but not overwhelmed. The narrative is minimal but effective, placing the player in the role of Link, who awakens after a long sleep to save Hyrule from imminent destruction. Elden Ring is an action RPG that marks the collaboration between Dark Souls creator Hidetaka Miyazaki and Game of Thrones author George R.R. Martin, resulting in an open world full of mysteries, challenges, and a deep narrative. The gameplay is an evolution of previous From Software games, combining intense and strategic combat with the exploration of a vast and interconnected world. The graphics are dark and atmospheric, capturing the essence of a universe that is both beautiful and desolate. The difficulty is notoriously high, with battles that require precision, patience, and a deep understanding of the game's mechanics. Subscribe if you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up, as that really helps a lot. If you think any game is missing or if you're planning to play any of these games, don't forget to leave a comment. Those were the top 20 best story-driven games with great stories. This has been another video from New Quest Play, and I'll be here waiting for you for the next quest.